Welcome to Wealthy Mind, where we talk about all things finances, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the surprising. Hello and welcome to Wealthy Mind. I am your host, Misty Rose Gold, International Success Coach. And here at Wealthy Mind, we love to help you create and maintain a wealthy mind. Today, I have back with me for a second conversation, Kirstin Carey. Hi.
That was nice. That was a fun one.
Well, I'm getting my spark back and my fire and my spunk, and anybody that follows the podcast on a regular basis knows that I was recently dealing with a medical thing in the last couple months. So it is nice to have my humor back, my spark, all those beautiful things that I love about myself. Yay. Okay, so enough about me. Tell all of us, what do you do?
I am a sales conversion coach, and I help people take what it is they're doing, attract more of their ideal audience, and convert more of those people over into clients at higher ticket pricing.
Very nice. And another title that you carry is Fractional
Yes.
CSO.
Yeah. So I'll step into people's companies. A lot of my clients they do launches, so they don't need a sales team all year round. They need it during certain times of the year. So I'll step in as their fractional sales officer and help them put together the sales component for their launches or their events. Because when you don't need a full-time sales team, there's no reason to pay a full-time sales team. So there
Mm,
are some very specific things that they shouldn't be worried about. Well, never be worried, but they shouldn't be overseeing. They should be doing, the launch itself. So making sure that the launch goes off because they're handling all of the pieces in the front of the camera. We can handle all the pieces in the back and make sure that their pitch is more effective, that they're closing more. They have fewer people actually making calls, sales calls, which sounds crazy, but they have more people actually closing. So we're not wasting the time of their sales team
mm,
either. And a lot of people are like, just get him on a call, just get him on a call. We'll convince him, we'll get him over the edge. I'm like, that's not what you want. You don't want your sales team wasting time with people who are really not serious and they're just kicking tires in that way. So
mhm,
we really want to bring people over the edge in the actual presentation, in the pitch during the event to get the
mm.
right people on the call with your sales team and making sure your sales team are closing.
Well, I love that. More efficiency, more money equals more freedom if you have the right mindset, by the way.
Definitely.
Yeah. There are plenty of people that are like, yeah, Misty, you're full of shit. I made more money. Still miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it,
It's not about the money at that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
There's something underneath that. Yeah.
I know. That's my little soapbox for the day. I was listening to a song in the car, well, lots of songs in the car on the way home for this interview, and that was one of the lines in the car on the song. Sorry. It was one of the lines on the song. It was, I thought more money was going to make me more fulfilled, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, what? That's the first time I've heard that line in that song, and I've listened to that song like 50 times.
It's amazing what you hear when you're ready to hear it, right?
It's just, I needed to hear it today. Like, maybe not for me, but for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Who did I need to hear that for? So, um, and a lot of people are going to be like, that's crap. It's gonna, you know what? When you get there, let me know.
Honestly, they've done studies, and after you get past the main basics, like your basics are covered. You have a place to live, you have a place to, have enough food to eat, you have enough water. I mean, the absolute basics to live. Most people, there's really only a small amount of money after that that really makes you happier. But for the most part, you have your basics met and nobody's in that spin anymore. Then you start to look at life very differently because you're not coming out of a needs situation. You're coming out of a
Mm.
desire situation. And most of us don't actually desire what the money truly brings us. It's what we think we're going to have, the frequency we think we're going to be in, that energy exchange that we think we're going to have once we have more money. But most of us don't change our personalities at that point. We don't change what makes us miserable, and we're not fixing what made us unhappy in the first place.
So maybe people are thinking, oh, I'll have peace if I get to this certain amount of money in my bank account. Well, if you don't have the mindset of inner peace now, it's not going to change.
No, it's just going to be worse, actually, because more money in that frequency, if you're not ready for it, can make you even less peaceful. It brings more chaos, more
It's an
challenge.
amplifier. So I
Mhm.
teach all of my people, and I deal with people from all different spectrums. They come from wealth, they don't come from wealth, they have money, they're working on creating more. Um, I always tell them money is an amplifier. Anything that you want amplified, awesome. Anything you don't want amplified when you have your next financial level, let's make sure to work through that so that it's not amplified, because that's what it does. Money amplifies everything.
Truth. Yes. So, and people don't get that because they think it's going to fix it. Like, it's going to put more of a light on whatever it is that isn't
Mhm.
going the way you want it to. So, back to the energy as a currency, it's that frequency, it's that energy exchange. So, money.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I love it. It's such a good tool. And it's like, for me, it resonates as freedom. Every time I think about it, it's just a tool of freedom. So it gives me freedom of choice. It gives me freedom of the life that I want, the life that I've designed. Nobody else gets to tell me how to design my life. So it's a beautiful thing. And then the freedom to be generous, the freedom to be generous with other people and myself for that matter.
Yes.
Generous with my self-care, generous with others. It's if you can get to the place of reframing your perception on money, you can see it as money equals freedom, but it's not the end all be all. It's not the as soon as I reach this, I'm going to be fulfilled. No, you have to practice that beforehand. It's like we were talking about before the interview, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, if you want to be a thing, you have to embody it. So,
Yeah. If you step into the life that you want to live, you have to get into that frequency again. It's no different, really, when you have money or you don't. But people think the money is going to be the key that opens the door that then gives them the thing that
mm,
they want. I'm like, you have to start finding that now.
yeah. So let's focus on how is it going to feel? How do you want to feel? You think money is the vehicle. Okay, awesome. How do you want to feel?
Mhm.
Now focus on that, identify that, have the awareness around it. Now focus on bringing that into your present currently and watch everything shift. It'll be life changing for you. Incredible. So let's dive into a fun topic that we came up with for today. In business, as business owners, there are pivots, and some of those pivots we miss, and some of those we can't miss. So, intentional pivots versus forced pivots.
I think a lot of people feel like they're in a forced pivot right now for a lot of reasons. The economy is bad, the politics are awful, business is slow, all the stories, right?
Yeah.
And more millionaires are made in times of the economy being
Hmm.
in a crash state than a not crash state. So you
And
start to
you
kind of
saw
just,
my eye rolls, right? Like,
yeah.
I just did the eye roll because in anytime the economy is down, I find a way to flourish.
Mhm.
So for people to be like, oh, the economy's down, you know what? There's still money out there. The
There always
money,
is.
it didn't just disappear. Go find it.
Yeah.
So it's a pivot. If you have the right mindset, you can do well in a down economy.
Yeah. And you can start to see that in a down economy, there's a lot of people who they were dabblers. They were people who were hobbyists. There were people who weren't really serious. They just thought they could make a buck or two doing whatever it is that whoever's listening to this right now, whatever your industry is, people are dabbling. an economy pushes back on people and tells people to step out when they're just dabbling and they're not serious. So it actually
Mm.
changes the marketplace. It makes the real serious versions of us step up, and the ones that weren't really that serious, they step out. So it
Mm.
changes, and it makes you really stand out in an economy like this. So this is when you don't pull back. This is when you lean in harder. If you really are sure of the product or the service that you have, lean in now.
Mm.
And I actually personally love it because I mean, I've been in business for over 3 decades. This is not the first down economy that I've ever seen.
Nope.
And it makes you step in and say, do I really want to do this or not? And that doesn't mean you grind harder. It means you lean harder into what it is that you do, right? You don't spend twice as much money to get half the number of clients. You
Mhm.
ask yourself, why are the clients that I have coming to me? Can I lean
Mhm.
more into that as a niche? So maybe I pivot my niche tighter. Maybe I
Mhm.
step out of the niche that I'm in and I step into a niche that I now feel that I'm ready for. And I've done that with my own companies.
Yeah.
For example, there was a point where I was in one of my companies and I built it up and we were 7 figures and we were doing all of the things. And I became tired and bored of what it was that I was doing because we had done it for so long. I was teaching the same principles over and over, but I built the team. So I taught the team how to teach those principles, teach that formula, teach that way for healing, natural health practitioner, healing for autoimmune. And there was stuff that I was working on for high level healing. But the people who came to us originally for our main high ticket offer, our bread and butter, they weren't well enough, frankly, to do the high level healing that I was doing myself and I had done for years and I was doing along the way. So I was like, but what if I did start a program just for the high level healing? And the people who were going through the program could be handled by my team because I had built them up to handle that.
Mhm.
So I went out to 13 of our clients who were now past the point of trying not to die today. I mean, honestly, that was where a lot of our clients were. They're like, I just
Yeah.
don't want to die this week. And I'm like, okay, that's a goal. And we would get people to this point, right? I
I
had people
understand that goal all
sobbing
too
on
well.
calls. And yeah, you understand. They'd been sick for years, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, but they were the bottom of the mountain. And all they wanted to do was get to what they thought was the top of the mountain. But the clients who had gotten to where they thought the top of the mountain was, they could see mountains that weren't even in view at the bottom.
Mhm.
They wanted more. And I knew how to get them there, but I had never really sold that level of a program to the people who were coming through because they weren't ready for it. So
Mhm.
I went to 13 of our clients and I just said, look, I'm putting together a program. It's going to be 6 months. Everybody's going to start and end at the same time. It's going to be a weekly thing and it's going to be higher level healing. Do you want in? I have space for 10. And I just said, it'll be $5,000. And within 24 hours, I had $50,000 in my account because I had 10 people immediately say yes. And I was like, cool. And then I'm like, great. Now I have to write the program. I have to figure out what I'm teaching. And I built the plane as I was flying it. I was 1 week ahead essentially, but I
Yeah.
could see the bigger picture here. And clients started getting healing at a way higher level. I was up leveling because I got to teach at a level that I wasn't getting to teach at with the way my company was before. And I created a new program. So the first 10 people who went through, I recorded everything, created a library, created the program, 6 months. And then I turned around and I sold it again to 10 more people the following 6 months. But I had it already pre-done. So now I wasn't doing the work this time. I was just showing up for Q&A. And
Mhm.
then the first round of people said, well, we want more. And I was like, really? So 7 of them were like, we want to stay. So I did a second level for the 7 who wanted to stay. And I did another one where I bucketed that and created a program out of that. And the reason I tell the story is because that was a pivot within a company. I got to pivot what I was teaching. I got to up level in a whole nother way. I was re-energized in my company
Mhm.
and I was bringing in money easily with no extra overhead. It was just me teaching stuff and recording them and doing what we were already doing. And my team was having a great time because I wasn't overseeing them the way that I was before. I was just checking in here and there. And they're like, the rest of the clients are great. I'm like, great. So we started a whole nother level to how we
Mhm.
were doing things. But I pivoted where I was in the company. And I got to learn in a different way. And I see companies that have opportunities to do that all the time.
Mhm.
And they're afraid to because they're afraid to let go. What if I'm not the one handling all the stuff? What if I didn't train my people well enough? What if I bring somebody else in and I'm not needed anymore? Like, what are the stories that we tell ourselves? when
Mm,
we've been in this. So there's pivots within companies where you're not making a master huge, everything's burnt to the ground, we start over kind of pivot. But then there's burn them to the ground and start over kind of pivot. I did the same thing with that same company where I just got to the point after 15 years, I was done. I was
mm,
complete.
yeah.
And I moved back into sales and marketing, which is where I started before I was in health. But I
Mm,
pivoted into health because I was super sick and couldn't find an answer. So I went back and had to create my own solution. And of course, because I'm a business owner and a true entrepreneur in my core, I saw a program that could come out of my own healing experience. So when
mm,
you look at this, a lot of people won't pivot. I have multiple friends I'm having this conversation with now and clients who are, they see the pivot and the need for it, but they also feel that they're failing if they leave what they had done, the blood, sweat, and tears to build.
mm,
What does that make me if I do this? Oh my God, the thought of starting all over again. I'm like, you're not starting all over again. You're starting with all of the knowledge
right.
you have now. And you get to start something from the middle, basically, not from the beginning, because you know so much more. Like, what would
Mm,
that feel? And what if you could sell it? What if there was just an extra 500,000 or several $1 million in your account because you've sold the company and you get to start with all of the knowledge on something fresh? Or what if you
yeah.
maybe pivot and just hang out for 6 months and
That
just
feeling of being a failure is,
huge?
it is destructive, incredibly destructive, right? So it eliminates the ability to think like an overcomer, to think of, wow, there's a positive thing here. Uh,
Yeah.
it does, it's debilitating. So I understand your point of view, right? Because I have similar frustrations at different times in dealing with my world. Um, but I also understand the people that we're dealing with. So mm, when you feel like a failure, it's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good, but here's actually how I feel right now. So let's speak to that because I'm sure there's a lot of people going through that process because of the down economy and not knowing how to pivot, not knowing the process, not knowing the positive outcomes that will the spin off of that.
Well, the question is, what have you done at this point? I had a friend of mine, we've been in business a long time, we've known each other a long time. And she came to me and she said, I built this after 30 years, I built this company and it was my blood, sweat, and tears. It was time away from my family. It was a marriage that broke apart in the middle of it. It's all the things. And this was the only thing that was with me the whole time was this business. So even
Uh,
if I sell it, even if I'm walking away from the most supportive thing that I ever really had.
and
And
her
I feel like I'm
identity.
failing. Yes. So who
Yes,
am I after this?
right.
And that's where the failure piece, like, am I letting something go? And I'm like, no, you're complete in your cycle with it. It can't teach you anything more, but it may be there to teach other people. So sell it, look into selling it, look at your employees and see if they want to buy it out from under you. Like, what is it become? It's become something else, but it's no longer serving you. And you in this state are no longer serving it. So it is like a divorce sometimes within the company, right? This thing that was who you are for so long. But the reason you are who you are now is because of it.
Hmm.
But you can't grow beyond where it can take you. And you've completed that cycle. So
So
the
that,
question is, what's the definition of failure in this moment?
well, I think I would like to speak to the identity piece of it, right? Because so many people have their identity wrapped up in their business and what it is that they're doing. And then when you're forced to look at changing your identity, it can be scary. And I want
Mhm.
to speak to the little boy and the little girl inside of all of our listeners, which is usually the scared part of us. And we have a choice. We can approach the unknown with fear or being scared, or we can approach it as the true essence of a child, where it's an adventure. It's an exciting opportunity in front of us to discover and to learn and to spread our wings a little bit. So I think if we switch how we're looking at it, it will help tremendously. It's like, I gave myself this pep talk in the last couple of months. So I practice what I preach. in the last couple of months going through the experiences that I have. It's, hey, little Misty,
Mm,
you can either be scared or you can embrace the adventure because it's tons of fun. It's fun to discover, it's fun to learn, it's fun to step into newness. I mean, ultimately, if everything stays the same, it becomes stale. It becomes like instead of full color spectrum life, you're in a gray spectrum.
mm.
No, thank you. But the inner child is always seeking that comfort zone, and that comfort zone is what brings the gray spectrum. So we can't always listen to our inner child because they don't always know best, even though they think they do.
Right. They just want safety,
They want to
and
feel safe and they want to
newness
feel
isn't safe.
cozy.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have to convince them. I call mine the little shit because she's a little shit sometimes.
They want to be seen and heard. So yeah.
I love her, but I'm like, you're a little shit. We have an honest relationship with each other. So when she's desperately seeking that safety and that comfort zone, I'm like, no, no, there's fun on the other side. There's adventure on the other side. There's excitement on the other side. And guess what? My favorite thing is the possibilities. The possibilities don't happen in a controlled environment.
No.
And that's the magic for me. If my business, if there's momentum and I'm creating possibilities and possibilities are coming at me, I'm good. Totally good. I know that these waves ride themselves out as long as I have those key factors in play. So, momentum is something that needs to be looked at in your business, in your life. What are you doing? Is it gaining momentum? Is it stalled? If it's stalled, you need to talk to somebody, talk to a trusted advisor, talk to myself, talk to Kirstin. And are you creating opportunities for yourself? How do we get those opportunities created? Don't focus on the dollar, focus on momentum and opportunities, and the money will come if you're speaking the right language, right? So, the other thing I wanted to cover is these pivots, either intentional or forced pivots. They force us to shift our sales conversations. Will you speak to that, please?
Yeah. Well, it forces us into what do I really want here? And when we're in a conversation where we feel like we're failing, we feel like we're in a gray area where it's no longer fun for us, those conversations are going to, the person we're talking to is going to feel that. So you could be saying all of the right things in these sales conversations, and the people who, and I'm going to use this term loosely, should have come over the line and become a client because all the right pieces were in place, they won't. So when you look at your internal is a reflection of your external, and your external is a reflection of your internal. If you suddenly have fewer people enrolling in your programs or coming over as customers or clients, you have to look at yourself too and say, am I repelling them in some way? Because you
Mm,
will, with the languaging you're using, with the vibration in your voice, with how you're
hmm.
showing up.
Right.
And I'm watching this happen with a lot of big companies, 7, 8, 9-figure companies who are
Hmm.
online standard funnel companies where they get you on the call and they do a launch, and you know, want to become a client through that. And they're not enrolling anywhere near the numbers that they used to. And some of them
Mm,
are panicked. So they're coming down harder on the sales teams. They're coming down harder on their teams. They're eliminating a lot of the members of their teams and then putting more on the few who are left. And there's this vibration of desperation coming
yeah.
through, and it filters through everyone. So it comes through the team, even if you're not the one handling the sales call, if you're overseeing them, because they know there's fewer opportunities to enroll than there used to be.
Hmm.
And they're freaking out, or they're coming up with bridge offers that are programs that are far less expensive. And then they're trying to jam people into those programs, giving them the illusion they can still get what they got out of the big program, but they can do it in less time or for less money. And then there's confusion on the value of what they're offering.
Right.
And I'm seeing this over and over and over in a lot of teams right now. And I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. Or they're doing more launches. So rather than doing 2 or 3 or 4 a year, they're doing 6, 8, 9 a year. Now
Mm,
there's no sense of urgency. There's this energy of the customers know, well, she's going to do another one again in 4 to 6 weeks. I can just hang out. There's no reason to
mm,
enroll now. And so there's just more pressure and more masculine push vibe than this receive energy. And you need the balance, right, of the two. You still need
Mhm.
the energy of both. But I'm seeing more of this push masculine. Oh my God, what if I can't get them to say yes now?
So in my mastermind group this morning, we talked about that very thing. It's how do we show up in a positive manner? And it was a room full of men. And in that space, I helped the guys identify there are specific words that you're saying, thoughts that you're thinking that are either pushing the money away from you or it's pulling the people towards you.
Right.
So we talked about that at length today, and it's very basic. So I love to bring it back to a very logical space for my men because I love my men. You know I do.
Yeah. I get
So
it. Very linear. You got to stay in that space. I understand.
bring it back to a logical space for them. It's like, well, how does it feel to express gratitude in the form of thank you? Thank you to the universe, to God, to whatever it is that you subscribe to spiritually. Thank you. How does that feel? It's inviting.
Mhm.
But if you show up to a meeting and you're all pissed off, guess what? You're pushing everything away. And they get it, right? Like spelling it out in such a logical way, it's like, oh, that makes sense. So I have control over what I'm pushing away and what I'm pulling in. Yes, you do. Now you get to honestly look at why am I trying to push things away? Because I know exactly how to pull them in.
Yep.
Now, why am I trying to push them away? Why am I trying to sabotage? And when we non-judgmentally ask that question of why am I doing that, inevitably the answers will come. They
Mhm.
just magically show up at some point. So it's beautiful how that works. So I told the guys, I said, put this in as a filter. All right. So you know this is what's going to pull things in. You know this is what's going to push things out. And if you catch yourself in the mode of pushing things out, ask yourself, why am I doing this? And go deeper with it and figure out where that's coming from because inevitably it's rooted in our beautiful, wonderful subconscious programming that was created as a child and then built upon over time. So it all goes back to that for all of us. And if you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, you have to grow. If you want to grow alongside the company, awesome. If you don't, you're always going to be out of balance with your company. So it is a journey that forces me to grow on a daily basis. It is a journey that forces other people to grow. If we want to stay in a space of elevation and growth, I have to grow. It's just what it comes down to, right? And accepting that as part of the process. And then realizing, okay, if I accept that this is a journey of growth, now how do I need to grow in order to stay in alignment with my business? And how do I need to grow in order to keep it successful during this time and even grow it during this time? So, this questioning, non judgmental view of yourself and looking at that truth helps us to put the right lens on it to say, oh, okay, this is how I need to pivot because I'm actually getting in the way. So, how do I get out of the way and open things up for my business, right? We can get
Yeah.
in our way so many times and we don't intentionally, well, sometimes we intentionally do, but not always are we intentionally getting in our way. We accidentally,
Yeah.
whoops, I'm in my way right now, right? Because instead of blaming it on other people, instead of blaming it on the economy, instead of blaming it on the market, let's figure out how to pivot. Let's think like overcomers and pivot and figure out there is a solution here. I'm going to find it. Where is this solution?
Right. And choosing it is a lot easier than having it forced on you sometimes. The pivot
Hmm.
will come whether you like it or not. But in the idea of
Yes.
growth, is that we need challenge in order to grow. We cannot stay where we are and keep repeating the same thing over and over, or else we'll start to that's atrophy, right? We'll start sliding
Hmm.
backwards. So there needs to be some level of challenge, which can sometimes feel discomfort, be uncomfortable and be painful. But when we do it with intention, like you're going to the gym to build muscle, you're breaking down muscle as you're building muscle, right? Like you're
Hmm.
actually causing some sort of discomfort in order to get to the other side. When you can do that with business, it's amazing what happens. But when you understand what's beneath the pivot, what's beneath the need to pivot, beneath the need to grow, you start to understand what's driving that. So I had a client who I hadn't seen in years show back up on my calendar, and I said, "How are you doing? What's been going on?" And she said, "Well, my business is falling apart. I don't understand." So I said, "Okay, well, let's get to the heart of what's going on." So when we got into it, she came through to say that she had found out that her husband had been cheating on her. And I said, "Okay, so your business is falling apart. It sounds like your relationship is falling apart, but it sounds like your relationship was in challenge before that."
Mhm.
And she said, "Well, then all the blame, right? It's his fault. How dare he?" And all the things. And I said, "Okay, so you've worked with me before. So you know what I'm about to ask you is not in judgment. It's because we're trying to get to the core of what's really going on. So how is it serving you that your husband is cheating on you?" And she started saying, "Well, it's hurting my son." And blah, blah, blah. I said, "Nope, I'm going to ask you again. How is it serving you for your husband to be cheating on you and your business to be falling apart?" And she started, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to hold you right here until you hear the question." So she finally heard the question. She said, "Yo, I remember what it was like to work with you." And she said, "Well," and then she stopped. And it was like one of those moments where she exhaled and like finally got it at a different level and
Mm.
more to herself than she said to me. She said, "I have a reason to leave." And I was like,
Mm.
ooh. So I let her sit with that for a minute and we just held. And then she goes, "Oh my God, I've wanted to leave for a long time. And now I have a real good excuse." And so she realized she'd been driving that the whole time. Now, this is not blame. This is not she created this situation. And she was looking for an out. She
Mhm.
found one, but she found one that was so obvious that it wasn't her fault. And we do that, right? We look for reasons to do the very thing. So if you can get quiet long enough and sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is it I really want here? And what am I ignoring? Then you don't necessarily have to go through some of those experiences. Some of us like the 2x4. Some of us have to touch the hot stove, even though we've been told it's hot. We have to burn ourselves. So I always will ask people, and some people don't love this question, but when they can get real with themselves,
Mm.
the answer's underneath it. How is whatever it is that you're experiencing right now serving you?
Mm.
Because whatever that is really what's driving this very scenario and
Mm.
driving this very challenge. So when people can get serious and they're not in judgment to themselves when they ask this
Mhm.
question,
Mhm.
how is this serving me? It's amazing the things that will come up, and the wounded children, as I call them, or the inner children, will step in and say, "This is it." And it typically goes back to something from a long time ago.
Yep. It highlights the victim, which is usually the inner child. Uh, yeah, I love it. This is an opportunity for all of us to think as overcomers.
Yeah.
Don't let the victim inside of us drive the ship. Please don't. So
No, what's the reflection on all of it? And when you can stay out of judgment, that's the hardest part of the whole
it
story.
is. It
It's
is.
staying out of judgment or in blame. It's easier to blame everybody else. "Well, how dare this person do this to me? And how dare my employees leave me? Or how dare," I'm like, "How does this serve me?" And then I go, "All right, how does this serve me? What is
Mhm.
this I needed? What lesson did I have to bring back? What did I need the 2x4 for? What is it that I need to see right now that I'm unwilling to see or release into or surrender into in order to get the lesson I need to get to that next pivot?"
Mm. My thing is, where's the good in this?
Mhm.
I broke the victim programming eons ago in myself. And since then, my default programming now, because I built it that way, is where's the good in this? So immediately my mind goes to where's the good? And I don't always see it straight away. It might take a few days, but if you're focused on finding the good, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And
Well, if you
you,
focus on fighting the bad, you'll find that too. And people were more conditioned to think that way.
when
Yeah.
you focus on finding the good in every scenario, business or personal, it forces you to push your ego aside. It forces you to push your inner child victim aside. It forces you to put down your biases, your judgments of self and of others, and simply look at it from a higher perspective of where is the good in this? And when you find the good, it's eye-opening. And if it's around a business challenge, the answers usually start unfolding when you ask, where's the good in this? If
There's
you're
opportunity.
if you're in doom and gloom thought process, those answers aren't coming. So Thank you for this lovely conversation. I know that you need to get going, so let's respect your time and get you out of here. I'm sure that audience has enjoyed this conversation as well, and it is timely for what we're dealing with right now. There's a lot of challenges being thrown around for businesses, but you guys, we can overcome this. We've got this. Just check your mindset, make sure it's headed in the right direction, and the answers will come. So, Kirstin, please tell the audience, what is the name of your website?
It is evolveminded.com. They can find me on LinkedIn. I hang out on Facebook sometimes, but LinkedIn and my website.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. I so appreciate the conversation, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing August.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, we will see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wealthy Mind podcast. Please be sure to download the Wealthy Mind app today and make sure to support your local Dress for Success.